The Broken Alliance, the Silence and Research Station. Omega-7 was the kind that came after screaming. Dr. Marcus Chun stood in the observation deck, watching the pale blue surface of Xerion Prime rotate slowly beneath them. 3 months had passed since the Devourer attack that had changed everything. 3 months since humanity and the Xerion Empire had been forced to abandon decades of bitter warfare and unite against a common enemy that consumed entire worlds. Marcus adjusted his black uniform and checked the chronometer on his wrist. She would be here soon. Zara Kethvar, the Xerion warrior scientist whose telepathic abilities were their only hope of tracking the Devourers before they struck again. The same alien woman who had made it crystal clear that she despised taking orders from any human, especially him. The door hissed open behind him. He didn't need to turn around to know it was her. The temperature in the room seemed to drop whenever she entered, not from any alien technology, but from the pure ice in her voice. "You summon me, human." Her words cut through the air like a blade. Marcus turned slowly to face her. Zara stood in the doorway, her crystalline blue skin catching the light from the overhead panels. She was tall, nearly matching his own height, with silver markings that traced elegant patterns along her neck and arms. Her eyes were the color of deep ocean water, and they held nothing but contempt for him. "I didn't summon you," Marcus said calmly. "I requested your presence for the mission briefing." "The same thing," she replied, stepping into the room with the fluid grace of a predator. "You snap your fingers, and I am expected to come running like some trained creature." "Is that what you think you are?" Marcus asked, genuinely curious. "A trained creature?" Zara's eyes flashed with anger. "I am Zara Kethvar of the Crimson Blade Legion. I have led warriors into battle against your kind for 7 years. I am not your toy to command." There it was. The same argument they had been having for weeks. Marcus had tried patience, tried respect, tried everything he could think of to bridge the gap between them. But Zara's pride ran deeper than the ocean on her homeworld below. "Nobody said you were," Marcus replied. "But right now, you're our best hope of stopping the Devourers before they reach the core systems. Both human and Xerion core systems." "Do not lecture me about the stakes," Zara said, her voice rising. "My people have lost 3 colonies to those monsters. I have seen what they leave behind. Empty shells of worlds, drained of all life, all hope." Marcus nodded grimly. He had seen the reports. The Devourers didn't just kill. They absorbed everything. Every plant, every animal, every thinking being. They left behind nothing but lifeless rock floating in space. "Then you understand why we need to work together," Marcus said. "Your telepathic abilities can detect them before our sensors pick up anything. Combined with human technology, we might actually have a chance." "Human technology," Zara spat. "Your crude machines and your arrogant assumption that bigger explosions solve everything. You know nothing about the true power of the mind." "Maybe not," Marcus admitted. "But I know about the power of cooperation. I know that your people's telepathic gifts and our technological innovations could create something neither of us could achieve alone." Captain Riley Torres chose that moment to enter the briefing room, her red hair tied back in a regulation ponytail. She nodded to Marcus and gave Zara a respectful but wary greeting. Riley had been present during several of their previous arguments and had learned to approach carefully. "Commander Chun," Riley said, "Elder Vexthal has arrived from the Xerion diplomatic vessel. He's requesting an immediate meeting." Marcus felt a knot form in his stomach. Elder Vexthal was Zara's superior, and if he was here, it meant the situation had escalated beyond simple cooperation problems. "Send him in," Marcus said. The elder entered with the measured steps of someone who had lived through centuries of conflict. His blue skin was darker than Zara's, almost navy, and the silver markings on his face formed intricate patterns that spoke of high rank and ancient wisdom. His eyes, however, held a weariness that Marcus recognized from his own mirror. "Dr. Chun," the elder said, inclining his head slightly, "I trust you have been treating my student with the respect due to a warrior of her caliber." "Of course," Marcus replied, though he could feel Zara's hostile gaze burning into him. "Zara is an invaluable member of our team. Then perhaps you can explain why she has requested reassignment to another station." Elder Vexthal said quietly. Marcus felt as if the air had been sucked out of the room. He turned to look at Zara, who stood with her arms crossed, her expression defiant. "You want to leave?" Marcus asked. "I want to serve my people effectively," Zara replied. "I cannot do that when I am treated as a subordinate by someone who understands nothing about Sirian capabilities." "What exactly have I done that makes you feel like a subordinate?" Marcus asked, his patience finally beginning to fray. "You make decisions without consulting me," Zara said. "You assume your human methods are superior. You treat me like a tool to be used rather than a warrior to be respected." "I have consulted you on every major decision," Marcus said, "and I have never assumed our methods were superior. I have only suggested that combining our approaches might be more effective than either alone." "You had suggested," Zara said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "Like a parent suggesting to a child. Like a master suggesting to a pet." Elder Vexthal raised his hand for silence. "Perhaps," he said slowly, "this conflict stems from more than simple cultural differences. Zara, you have not fully explained your reluctance to work with Dr. Chun." Something flickered across Zara's face, an emotion Marcus couldn't quite identify. Fear? Vulnerability? She quickly masked it with her usual hostility. "I have explained perfectly," she said. "I refuse to be treated as his toy." "Yet you have not requested assignment to work with Captain Torres or any other human," the elder observed. "Only to leave this station entirely." Marcus watched as Zara's composure cracked slightly. Her jaw tightened, and for a moment he saw something in her eyes that looked almost like panic. "The work here is too important to abandon over personality conflicts," Marcus said carefully. "Perhaps we could find a different approach to our collaboration." "There is no different approach," Zara said sharply. "Your species sees everything as something to be controlled, to be used. You cannot conceive of true partnership." "Then teach me," Marcus said simply. The words hung in the air like a challenge. Zara stared at him, her eyes searching his face for any sign of deception or mockery. Finding none, she seemed to deflate slightly. "You would not understand," she said quietly. "Try me," Marcus replied. Elder Vexthal watched the exchange with interest. "Perhaps," he said, "you two should work more closely together. Share not just duties, but understanding. Dr. Chun, I propose that you spend time learning about Zirian telepathic techniques." "Zara, you will teach him." "Elder," Zara protested, "that would require mental contact. It would be ... intimate." "Precisely," Vexthal said. "If you are to work together effectively, you must understand each other deeply. Fear of intimacy is a luxury neither of our species can afford in these times." Marcus saw the trap the elder had laid. Zara could not refuse without seeming weak or cowardly. But he also realized that the old Zarian was right. They needed to understand each other if they were going to save both their peoples. "I accept," Marcus said. Zara looked at him with something that might have been respect. "Very well," she said. "But do not expect me to make it easy for you, human." Later that evening, Marcus found himself alone in his quarters, trying to process the day's events. The telepathic training sessions with Zara had been ... intense. She had shown him glimpses of how Zirian minds worked, how they could sense thoughts and emotions across vast distances. But every time he had tried to reciprocate, to share his own thoughts. She had pulled away as if burned. The door chimed softly. Marcus checked the time and frowned. It was well past the end of the standard duty shift. He opened the door to find Zara standing in the corridor, her usual armor replaced by simple civilian clothes. "I could not sleep," she said without preamble. "Bad dreams?" Marcus asked, stepping aside to let her in. "Not dreams," she said, entering his quarters but staying close to the door. "Echoes. The telepathic exercises today, ... They left me open to too much input. I can feel every mind on this station." Marcus had read about telepathic overflow in the Zarian data files. It was apparently quite painful and could last for hours. Asterisk. "Is there anything I can do to help?" he asked. "Your presence," she said reluctantly. "Human minds are quieter than Zarian minds, less intense. Being near you helps muffle the noise." "Then stay," Marcus said simply. Zara looked at him with surprise. "You would allow that?" "You're not my prisoner, Zara," Marcus said. "You're my partner. If you need help, I'll help." Something shifted in her expression. A constant hostility softened just a fraction. "I am still not your toy," she sighed, but there was less venom in it now. "I never thought you were," Marcus replied. "You're one of the most formidable people I've ever met, human or Zarian." They stood in silence for a moment, the weight of unspoken words hanging between them. Finally, Zara moved to the small seating area and sat down, her posture rigid with tension. "My people believe that emotional connections make us weak," she said quietly. "That a warrior should be a perfect weapon, controlled and focused." "And what do you believe?" Marcus asked, sitting across from her. "I believe that too," she said, "until I met you." Marcus felt his heart skip a beat. "What changed?" "You are." "Not what I expected," Zara said, her voice barely above a whisper. "You are strong, but not brutal. Intelligent, but not arrogant. You lead, but you do not dominate." "You sound disappointed," Marcus said with a small smile. "I am terrified," Zara admitted. "Because for the first time in my life, I understand what my people mean when they say emotional connections make us weak. I am weak around you, Marcus. Chun, and I hate it." Before Marcus could respond, the station's alarm system began blaring. Red lights flashed throughout his quarters as Captain Torres's voice echoed through the comm system. "All senior staff to the bridge immediately. We have multiple contacts approaching the station. Unknown configuration." Marcus and Zara looked at each other, the moment of vulnerability instantly replaced by professional focus. They ran together toward the bridge, their personal conflict temporarily forgotten in the face of a new threat. The bridge was chaos when they arrived. Officers shouted reports, while holographic displays showed a cluster of dark shapes approaching from the outer system. Marcus took one look at the sensor readings and felt his blood turn to ice. "Those are devourer ships," he said. "Confirmed," Torres replied grimly. 15 scouts, moving in formation. They'll be in weapons range in 6 hours. "Can we evacuate the station?" Marcus asked. "Not everyone," Torres said. "We don't have enough transport capacity." Marcus turned to Zara. "Can you sense them, the devourers?" Zara closed her eyes and extended her telepathic abilities toward the approaching ships. Almost immediately, she recoiled as if struck. "They are empty," she said, her voice shaking. "Not just emotionless. They are voids where thoughts should be. They consume everything, even the psychic energy of their victims. But you can track them," Marcus said. "You can tell us where they're going to strike." "Yes," Zara said, though she looked pale. "But the contact is ... painful, like touching fire with my mind." "I won't ask you to do anything that could hurt you," Marcus said. Zara looked at him with something like gratitude. I will do what is necessary, she said. But I will need your help to stay grounded. The connection with the Devourers. It tries to pull you in, to make you part of their emptiness. Whatever you need, Marcus said Dot, as they worked together to prepare the station's defenses. Marcus realized that their earlier conversation had changed something fundamental between them. Zara still called him by his full name, still maintained her warrior's pride, but the wall of hostility had cracked. In its place was something far more dangerous, and far more precious. Trust, that the question was whether it would be enough to save them all. Asterisk. The heart of war the Devourer scout ships had been just the beginning. Marcus stood in the station's primary laboratory, surrounded by holographic displays, showing the most terrifying sight either species had ever witnessed. A full Devourer invasion fleet, over 300 ships strong, was heading directly for both human and Zarian core systems. They're not just attacking randomly, Marcus said, studying the fleet formations. They're coordinated, intelligent. This isn't a feeding frenzy. This is war. Zara sat at a monitoring station, her hands pressed against her temples. The psychic strain of tracking so many Devourer ships was taking its toll. Her normally vibrant blue skin had taken on a pale, almost translucent quality, and her breathing was shallow and labored. The hive mind, she whispered. I can feel it at the edges of my consciousness. It's vast, Marcus. Older than both our civilizations combined. And it's hungry for more than just physical matter. What do you mean? Marcus asked, moving to her. Sighed. It feeds on thoughts, on memories, on the very essence of what makes us alive, Zara said. Every world it consumes makes it stronger, more intelligent. If it reaches our own systems, ... She didn't need to finish. Marcus understood. The Devourers wouldn't just destroy their worlds. They would absorb the collective knowledge, culture, and souls of billions of beings. They would become unstoppable. Captain Torres entered the lab with Elder Vexthu and a group of both human and Zarian officers. The mixed crew had been working together for weeks now, but Marcus could still see the tension in their interactions. Decades of hatred didn't disappear overnight. The joint fleet is taking position at the Kepler Junction, Torres reported. Admiral Harrison is coordinating with Fleet Commander Nalthik. They're hoping to intercept the Devourer fleet before it can split off toward our respective home systems. It won't work, Zara said quietly. The Devourers can sense our fleet movements through their hive mind. They'll adapt their strategy faster than we can respond. Then what do you suggest? Elder Vexthal asked. Marcus had been working on an idea for days, but he hadn't shared it with anyone yet. It was dangerous, untested, and would require a level of cooperation between their species that had never been attempted. We need to turn Zara's telepathic abilities into a weapon, he said finally. The room fell silent. Zara looked at him with a mixture of fear and curiosity. Explain, she said. Marcus activated a holographic display showing a complex device that looked like a combination of human technology and Zarian crystal formations. A psychic amplifier, he said. It would take your natural telepathic abilities and boost them by several 1,000%. Instead of just sensing the Devourers, you could actually disrupt their hive mind. That's impossible, one of the Zarian officers said. No telepathic mind could handle that level of amplification. Not alone, Marcus agreed. But what if we created a shared mental link? Multiple minds working together, human and Zarian, supporting each other through the amplifier network. Elder Vexthal stroked his chin thoughtfully. The theoretical framework is sound, he said, but the risks are enormous. A psychic feedback loop could kill everyone connected to the system. The alternative is watching both our species get consumed. Marcus said, I'm willing to take that risk. I'm not willing to let you take that risk, Zara said sharply. You know nothing about telepathic amplification. The psychic backlash alone would destroy your mind. Then teach me, Marcus said, echoing his words from the day before. Show me how to survive it. Zara stared at him for a long moment. You would trust me with your mind? Your memories, your thoughts, your very soul? I already do, Marcus said simply. The next few hours were a blur of frantic activity. Human engineers worked alongside Xerian crystal singers to build the amplifier. Network. The device required perfect synchronization between technology and telepathic ability, with no room for error. Zara worked with Marcus to establish the mental link they would need. It was unlike anything either of them had experienced. Marcus felt her thoughts flowing into his mind, her memories of battle and loss, her fierce pride and hidden vulnerabilities. In return, he shared his own experiences, his dedication to protecting both their peoples, his growing respect and affection for her. This level of mental intimacy, Zara said during one of their practice sessions, it is sacred to my people. We do not share our minds lightly. I'm honored, Marcus said, and meant it. You should be, Zara replied, but there was warmth in her voice now. No human has ever been permitted this level of access to a Xerian mind. As they worked, Marcus began to understand the true depth of Zara's inner conflict. She had been raised to be a perfect weapon, emotionally detached and focused only on victory. But her time with him had awakened something in her that her culture considered weakness. You're afraid, he said during one of their mental connections. Yes, she admitted. I am afraid that caring for you will make me less effective as a warrior. I am afraid that my people will see me as contaminated by human emotion. And I'm afraid that asking you to use the amplifier will get you killed, Marcus said. But sometimes being afraid is what makes us human, or Xerian. It means we have something worth protecting. The first test of the amplifier was both promising and terrifying. With Marcus anchoring her through their mental link, Zara was able to reach out and touch the minds of the approaching Devourer fleet. The contact lasted only seconds before she collapsed, but it was enough. I can disrupt them, she gasped. But only for a few minutes at most. Can the strain ... Marcus, I don't think I can survive more than one attempt. Then we'll make sure one attempt is enough, Marcus said grimly. The final confrontation came sooner than anyone expected. The Devourer fleet had somehow detected the amplifier network and was accelerating toward the station. The joint human-Xerian fleet was still hours away. We're on our own, Torres reported. The Devourers will be in range in 30 minutes. Marcus and Zara took their positions at the amplifier control station. Around them, a dozen volunteers from both species prepared to join the mental link. Each of them knew they might not survive the experience. Remember, Marcus said to the assembled group, we're not just fighting for our own worlds. We're fighting for the future of all intelligent life in the galaxy. No pressure, one of the human technicians muttered, earning nervous laughter from the group. As the Devourer ships entered weapons range, Marcus felt the amplifier network come online. Power flowed through both human technology and Xerion crystals, creating a resonance that seemed to vibrate through the very fabric of space. Beginning amplification sequence, Zara announced. The mental link activated, and suddenly Marcus was connected to a dozen minds at once. He felt their fears, their determination, their hope. But above it all, he felt Zara's presence, strong and fierce, and ready to sacrifice everything for victory. Contact with the hive mind in 3.2.1. The universe exploded into chaos. Marcus felt Zara's consciousness expand, reaching out across impossible distances to touch the collective mind of the Devourer fleet. The contact was like grabbing a live electrical wire with his bare hands. Through the link, he experienced what the Devourers truly were. Not just predators, but a cosmic cancer that had been consuming life for millions of years. They had devoured thousands of civilizations, absorbing their knowledge and memories while leaving nothing but empty space behind. But they had never encountered anything like the combined will of human and Xerion minds working in perfect harmony. The Devourers. Hive mind was vast and ancient, but it was also rigid and predictable. It couldn't adapt to the chaotic creativity of the human imagination, combined with the disciplined focus of Xerion telepathy. Now, Marcus shouted through the mental link. Zara struck. Using the amplifier network, she didn't just disrupt the Devourer hive mind. She infected it with something it had never encountered before. Hope, love, the fierce determination to protect what was precious, the willingness to sacrifice for others. The Devourer fleet faltered as their collective consciousness was overwhelmed by emotions they couldn't process or absorb. Ships collided as their coordination broke down. The perfect synchronization of their attack dissolved into chaos. But the effort was killing Zara. Marcus could feel her mind burning under the strain of the amplification. The psychic feedback was tearing her apart from the inside. "I can't hold it," she gasped. "The connection is too strong." "Then don't hold it alone," Marcus said. He threw himself fully into the mental link, sharing the psychic load with her. The feedback hit him like a physical blow, but he held on. Around them, the other volunteers did the same, each one adding their strength to the network. "You're going to kill yourself," Zara said through their connection. "We're going to kill ourselves," Marcus corrected. "Together." For a moment that seemed to last forever, they hung suspended between life and death, their minds stretched to the breaking point. The Devourer hive mind thrashed against their attack, but it was too late. The infection of hope and love had taken hold, spreading through their ranks like wildfire. Then suddenly it was over. The Devourer fleet was scattering, their hive mind shattered beyond repair. The ancient evil that had consumed countless worlds was finally broken. Marcus and Zara collapsed together, their minds still intertwined. Around them, the other volunteers were slowly regaining consciousness, alive but forever changed by their experience. "Did we win?" Zara whispered. "We won," Marcus confirmed, holding her close. "Both our peoples are safe." "I never thought I would be grateful to feel weak," Zara said, her voice barely audible. "But this weakness, this connection to you, it made me stronger than I ever imagined possible." "It's not weakness," Marcus said. "It's love. And love is the strongest force in the universe." In the days that followed, as the joint human-Xerian fleet arrived to mop up the scattered Devourer remnants, Marcus and Zara became symbols of a new era. Their success had proven that cooperation between their species was not just possible, but necessary. Elder Vexthil officially dissolved the old warrior codes that had kept Xerian emotion suppressed. "We have learned," he announced, "that feeling is not weakness. It is the source of our greatest strength." Admiral Harrison signed the first formal alliance treaty between humanity and the Xerian Empire. "Today," she said, "we are no longer two species fighting for survival. We are one people, united in our determination to protect all life in the galaxy." Marcus and Zara stood together on the observation deck, watching as human and Xerian ships flew in perfect formation. The same deck where they had first argued about respect and partnership. "I have something to confess," Zara said quietly. "What's that?" Marcus asked. "I never really wanted to leave the station," she said. "I was afraid of what you made me feel, afraid of being vulnerable." "And now?" Marcus asked. "Now I understand that vulnerability is not the opposite of strength," Zara said. "It's the foundation of it. You taught me that." "You taught me something too," Marcus said. "You showed me that true leadership isn't about commanding others. It's about inspiring them to be their best selves." They stood in comfortable silence, watching the stars. The Devourer threat was over, but there would be other challenges ahead. Other threats to face, other problems to solve. But they would face them together, human and Xerian, as partners and equals. "I'm still not your toy," Zara said with a smile. "I wouldn't want you to be," Marcus replied. "You're my partner, my equal, my friend." "And perhaps," Zara said, taking his hand, "something more." As their fingers intertwined, Marcus realized that they had accomplished something far greater than defeating the Devourers. They had proven that love truly was stronger than hate, that cooperation was more powerful than conquest, and that the future belonged to those brave enough to reach across the darkness and find the light in each other. The war was over. The real peace was just beginning.